You a real one. So there comes a point in time in a person's life where they need to evolve. They need to move on. And when I say move on, I mean move out of your small town. That place is gonna get you killed. And I'm not talking unless you in the hood, unless you in old block, unless you're in the trenches. That should be even more of a reason to leave. But I'm talking plans wise. That will kill your plans. And there's so much to that, bro. That's just so much already. Not only your plans, that your dreams. And I call them plans because when you're dreaming, you're asleep. Your subconscious, unless you're lucid dreaming, you're asleep. That's your subconscious. You're not really doing anything actively. But when you're planning, that shit is active. Babies dream. Real niggas, real bosses, they plan. So that's my philosophy on that. But you won't even be able to plan or dream if you're not in the right environment. Or you won't even be able to enact or act on that plan in the wrong environment. Unless certain scenarios, which pressure builds diamonds. But to a certain point, bitch, I don't fuck on my workers. I don't fuck with my other miners. You know what I mean? And they ain't even mining for diamonds. They mining for copper. What? What? I don't know about you. We just got different goals. Perfect. That just leads into reason number one. The people you hang yourself around. You're most likely, can I say most likely? You're gaining success. You're a successful person. I even notice as you become more successful and more wise, you see the negative traits about the people around you. They're straight losers. Like loser habits. Average people habits. Because being average is... There's a divide. Okay, look. Let me draw you something. There's a divide. This leads all back into why people... So look. Draw something up for you. Average. Low. But obviously. So look. We had this chart right here. Damn. Average. It's gonna be backwards for y'all. Below. That's below average. And above average. You probably seen that chart in like school or some shit. I forgot what it was called. It was like a divide. But in the next couple years, there's gonna be a split. So where the people that are eating and the people that are suffering will be the only two. Because there's no three choices, there's just two. It'll be something like, it's like when you get that carpet. It's like when you get like a little air bubble under that carpet. That shit's not flat. That's the average now. It goes down. And this is below and this is average. You've probably heard the term have-nots and have-yachts. You tell me. But look. That goes to say being average is not like the way to go. And you know what average is. I believe with morals, like with morals, there's innate things that we just know, I believe, that we just know is wrong and right. And I think we know that about like our life choices. We have this intuition. Some people are tuned in to it greater than others. There's a great book about this by Robert Greene. He wrote The Art of Seduction, the 48 Laws of Power, Mastery. There's people in tune with this part of themselves that they just know what to do, or just they're in tune with the voice in their head and they never let that go, which is why we have great artists. I give so many examples. But people are being disconnected from that. You can tell people are being distracted by that from the media, from the world. And they get stuck in that. Like that shit passes down as well. That's like a legacy thing. Like you can tell from family members from generations. Oh yeah, that's the whole legacy. That's the family path. That's the way they're going. Now it's either going the dynamics of power. Shit is never still. It's either going up or the fuck going down or up. You can tell like where they're going based off their actions they do. You can see a loser. They don't wake up on time. They eat shit. The way they talk, what they talk about, talking about people, gossip, just really like low energy shit. And we're heading to the top. We're going. We're gone. And if I gotta leave you here, and it doesn't matter how you're related to them, how you relate to them, how they are involved with life, whether that's your teacher, your friend, your family member, bro. If you have to cut them off. If it's a must, if it applies to them, cut them off. If they're not going to where you're going, cut them off. They don't need to see you. That'll just give them another reason for them to talk shit on you. Cause I bet you that the same habits they're doing, the same gossipy shit they do to you, they do to you, they're doing on you, to other people, if that makes sense. They're gossiping about you if they're gossiping with you or to you. You don't need that type of shit around you. Losers flock. Small minds. I doubt the people in like around you. They're probably small minded, for the most part. Usually we're this archetype. It's an archetype. It's people around you just talk down on the ideas, aren't really in tune with the shit like you, and for some reason still think they can have opinion on it. It's why you only need to interact with people that, if you want to learn, talk to people that are doing what you're doing, or are at where you're at, and older people potentially, but those can also be losers. You just got to be able to identify them. Secondly, you gotta break the cycle. That's why you had to leave. It's most likely that you moved here. Your parents, great, grand, older, your oldest elder, your ancestors moved here, and you've been here since. You gotta break that shit, man. You gotta, I mean, you don't wanna, they're there for a reason. They're there because that's all they know. And usually, if that's all they know, they don't really get to know much after that point. They build with a certain group of friends, stay in a close huddle, banish people that don't have the same ideas as them, slander them, it's a group thing, society shit. And then they just stay in that one. It's a bubble. Whether you're in a small town, a city, there's cliques, but it's just a high-minded, just and closed-minded people. That's how people never really, or why people never really have open minds, or aren't able to really think large, because of the ideas that have been implemented since like childhood, which is why your parents are still there, which is why you could be there too, if you choose that. Unless you want to have a different life for your kids, if you don't want to be there, then you gotta move. But you also have to have a plan. A plan of action of how you to not be affected by these people. Now you can stay in the environment, but you just gotta move. I'm talking about staying in the environment and just moving healthy, not interacting with them, doing what you gotta do. I'm being dead ass, but also have to come up with a plan to leave the area. Cause regardless, pressure makes diamonds. You know, in hip hop, they call it the trap. Wonder why? That's it. It's called the trap for a reason. Because if you don't get out, you're stuck. And at a certain point, you gotta realize, fuck, you gotta realize you're even in a trap. Because most people don't even do that either. They're not even aware. They're just given what they're told. It's like the cave analogy. If y'all seen that. And it's like, it's philosophy. People are stuck in a cave and they're facing a wall with shadows being projected by it on it. And above is those shadows. It aren't those shadows, but what's being presented by those shadows is real above. Like on actual like sunlight, with like actual sunlight. But the shadows are being projected by fire. And so the shadows are what's being projected by the whole society, the whole mob mind, in a sense. So you get criticized for being different in that shit. That's no problem for a G, man. You need to see bigger picture, beyond the scope of where you're at, beyond the internet. The internet's a big place, but beyond that, you got to be able to see where do you want to go. Where is it? How do I get as much experience? How do I become as wise as possible? How do I become a better person? Big picture. You want to experience this. If you travel young, like you traveled a lot when you were young, fuck. Bro, fuck it. If you traveled a lot while you were young, you most likely have this mindset. If you're in a small town, or unless you're already moving around, which I'm looking forward to do.